You're listening to Autumn on the Air, the weekly podcast that brings you conversations about the impact of research commercialization and the people who make it happen. Join us for interviews with patent and licensing professionals, innovators, entrepreneurs, and tech transfer leaders on the issues and trends that matter most. Keep listening for an inside track on the people, IP policies, and politics changing our world.
Welcome to Autumn on the Air. Today we're marking a truly historic milestone, the 100th anniversary of the Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation, or WARF. Since its founding in 1925, WARF has played a pioneering role in supporting scientific discovery, advancing innovation, and ensuring the research at the University of Wisconsin-Madison benefits society. To celebrate this centennial, I'm joined by four outstanding members of the WARF team, each representing a unique perspective on the organization's enduring legacy and future. Holly Adams, Contract Manager, who focuses on the administration and compliance of WARF's agreements after execution. Lesli Mark, Accelerator Manager, who helps drive promising research from the lab to the marketplace through WARF's Accelerator. Michael Falk, Chief Intellectual Property and Licensing Officer, who leads WARF's IP strategy and licensing efforts, ensuring that groundbreaking discoveries reach those who can put them to use. And Maureen Miner, Director of Human Resources and Culture Advancement, who fosters the people and culture that makes WARF's mission possible. Together, we'll reflect on WARF's century of impact, the lessons learned, and what the next 100 years might hold. Welcome to the podcast, Holly, Lesli, Michael, and Maureen.
Hi, thanks for having me today. I'm happy to be here.
Pleasure to join you.
Looking forward to celebrating WARF's 100.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. It's pretty rare that I actually get to record podcasts in person outside the annual meeting. So I'm really honored to be here at WARF today. And I thought maybe we would kick things off by opening a question to the entire group. So WARF is celebrating a remarkable 100 years. What does this centennial mean to you guys, both personally and professionally?
Sure. I'll start there. I've been at WARF for 25 years, so I've got a quarter of the history with me. And the people I've known here certainly date back to its origins. One of our most significant inventors, Hector DeLuca, was the last graduate student of Dr. Steenbach, who is the founder of WARF. And so we really have a genuine and strong connection to the inventor community here that goes back to the origins of the organization. And given the amount of change we've seen, both in technology, certainly the crisis we're in now as federally funded institutions in terms of our research support, having an organization with stability that's seen ups and downs, that has gone through depressions and wars, and certainly lots of challenges in terms of tech transfer, I think it's more important than ever. So it's really just such a privilege to serve WARF and serve a public research university in that way.
I feel, too, the contributions of our people have really brought the technologies to life across the world, which is pretty amazing. And we came up with tagline, so to speak, in investing in research, making a difference. And I just think that speaks for the past 100 years and hopefully the next 100 years.
And professionally for me, it's a celebration of 100 years of turning university innovation and ideas into real world impact. Michael had mentioned a couple names before, Harry Steenbach and Hector DeLuca. And I just thought another name worth mentioning would be Howard Bremer, otherwise known as the founding father of technology transfer. I was lucky enough to have met and worked with Howard in the early years, and I can still picture him coming off the elevator with his briefcase and a huge smile on his face. And personally, for me, it's a time for me to reflect back on my time at WARF and also to share WARF's impact over the last century with my friends and family.
And to build a little on what Holly was saying, I think the last 100 years are filled with people who have been trying to change the game, trying to evolve tech transfer and get innovations out there. I think an opportunity for the next 100 years is how we can continue to evolve and grow and help the university and get their amazing technology out into the world and help improve people's lives.
Those are really some fantastic answers. Thank you. And so what are some of the most significant ways WARF has contributed to research, commercialization, and society over the past century?
Well, I'd start with the Bayh-Dole Act. Holly mentioned Howard Bremer before, our general counsel, and you couldn't see it on the radio, but we all smiled when we heard Howard's name mentioned. He was such a class act and did so much for the country in terms of technology transfer. And he was very involved in the passage of Bayh-Dole and how it was structured, very much modeled on what WARF had instituted itself for the University of Wisconsin. And that became a model for tech transfer across the country through Bayh-Dole. And so that was a very significant contribution for WARF to make to the overall research community. In terms of technologies, we have stem cells, human embryonic stem cells. Jamie Thompson, one of our researchers who did very early and seminal work in it. We have championed that technology for 25, 30 years now. It has been a long and fruitful scientific journey. Hundreds of thousands of scientists now work in that area and have benefited from the early work we did in creating the cells and making them widely available to the research community. We've got a number of drugs in clinical trials now based on that early research. And so gratifying for us to see that finally coming into the commercial world where they can benefit people and can really make a difference for human health.
I can kind of go off of what Michael had said regarding the stem cells. One contribution that's deeply personal to me is, as all my colleagues know, my husband suffered a C4 spinal cord injury that altered his life back in 2016. So anyway, the contribution that really resonates with me most is the story of a young man who was in a car accident and suffered a spinal cord injury. He was paralyzed from the neck down, and he underwent an experimental stem cell treatment with technology patented by WARF, and ultimately regained use of his upper extremities and went on to throw the first pitch at the Brewer game. So stories like that are what drive me every day in my career and why I'm so proud to work at WARF.
That's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that.
I think some major themes that I've noticed in my time at WARF have really accelerated research and bridged the gap. So a lot of our, I think, old processes and strategies, and even from the Bayh-Dole gap, there was a gap that was realized 100 years ago. And our people around came together and said, what can we do? What can we do to enhance the research that's happening at UW? What can we do to take that and build that and move that so people can actually benefit from it? So I think those are some of those themes, and you can get into the specific technologies or innovations, but those really resonate with me. And I think a lot of our newer programs are fostered around that. We've been doing these things for 100 years. What can we do that continues to bridge the gap and advance the innovation so everyone can use them, as Holly mentioned?
I think the room covered a lot of the really impressive and amazing points in the way WARF has contributed over the last 100 years. But to build off what Maureen is saying is keep an eye out for the coming years to see what WARF is able to offer and how we can help. We have a lot of fantastic technologies in the pipeline that we're actively working with and putting our resources towards. And we really hope that this will help a lot of people in the coming years.
So we'll stay tuned. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of really fantastic things coming out of here. So we're excited to see what those are. So I want to turn to each of you individually. And Holly, I thought maybe I would start with you. You're a contracts manager here at WARF. So you're at the heart of WARF's agreements and partnerships. How have the needs and the complexities of license agreements evolved over the course of the years?
WARF is continuously evolving to meet the needs of our licensees and other stakeholders. Most recently, I can give an example. In our support of entrepreneurship, we recognize the need to streamline the formation of startups coming out of UW-Madison. And in doing so, we rolled out the Startup Advantage program. The primary goal of this program was to really offset some of the costs that startups face when starting up their business. So we developed a non-negotiable license and equity deal that was very favorable to not only the founder, but also investors and other commercial partners. And I think we rolled this out in September, and we have signed a few deals already. So I'm really excited to see, how this is going to go moving forward.
So one of the things I think that sometimes frustrates people is when you have to change agreements midstream as technologies evolve. How do you handle that situation when that arises?
Communication is really key. I take a really proactive approach in reminding my licensees of upcoming obligations, which really helps to stay ahead of any issues that may arise with development or other aspects of the contract. Oftentimes, when changes are needed, myself and the licensing manager will meet with the respective licensee to really learn what has changed and what we can do to amend the agreement. Our goal is always to stay flexible and supportive, and ultimately assure that the agreement is meeting the needs of both WARF and also our licensee.
So talk to us, Holly, a little bit about how the approach to agreements and compliance has evolved over time.
Yeah. So over my 14-year tenure at WARF, I've seen significant changes in how we track compliance. One of the most impactful developments has been the creation and ongoing enhancements of our internal database that we call WARForce, which is basically just a customized version of Salesforce. And we have a dedicated in-house team that is continuously refining the system to better meet our needs for compliance. And so some of the major changes that I've seen over my time have been the automation of invoicing for certain financial obligations, as well as the automation for email notices to our licensees regarding upcoming obligations and also past due obligations. And most recently, we rolled out an online reporting system, royalty reporting tool for our crop licensees. And currently, we're working on rolling out a more robust online reporting tool for some of our more complex license agreements.
Oh, well, you've been very busy over your 14 years, haven't you?
Yes.
Very, very busy. So, Holly, that leads me to ask you, what role does contract management play in ensuring WARF's legacy of trust and collaboration as it continues into its next century?
Yeah, contract management plays a vital role as we are WARF's primary contact for licensees regarding agreement obligations and compliance. I pride myself on working very closely with our licensees to ensure they understand and meet the needs of their license. Also, as part of our ongoing commitment to strengthen our relationships with our licensees, my colleague and I have made it a priority to visit a lot of local startups. These visits allow us to personally introduce ourselves, and oftentimes they invite us in for a tour of their lab and a deep dive into their technology, which is really cool. And we never show up empty-handed. We always have some cool WARF swag to bring them.
There you go. I was wondering, do you bring food too, or just swag?
No food, just WARF swag. I mean, what's better than WARF swag?
Some would say food, but hey. So, Lesli, I want to turn to you now because you're the Accelerator Manager for WARF, which is a key part of WARF's strategy to help bridge the gap between research and real-world impact. How has the Accelerator evolved, and what are some of the success stories that stand out to you?
Sure. So, Accelerator is actually quite an old initiative for WARF. It came around in 2010 with this goal of moving our technologies, our disclosures towards a license, and doing that in a form of technology de-risking. And over the almost 15, 16 years now, we have had a lot of lessons learned about how to best translate the technologies. One of the key ways we've evolved this is taking more of a bespoke approach with the accelerator, really diving into each technology and trying to learn what that tech needs in order to advance to the next critical milestone so that has its best chance of being put into the market. And the way we do that is we use subject matter experts from industry, hand-selected people who have had firsthand experience translating similar types of tech from the lab to the market. So they know those challenges that we will face, and they have lessons learned on how to best accelerate a similar type of tech to the market. And so we try to access these SMEs throughout the course of our proposal development and throughout the course of the project to make sure our technologies are being guided down a path that leads to success. And then some success stories that we've had. One that has gained a lot of press right now is our ART 101 technology. It's a next generation radiopharmaceutical that's targeting molecules designed for prostate cancer therapy. It specifically targets a prostate-specific membrane antigen known as PSMA, and it delivers radioactive isotopes directly to that cancer cell. So this is a technology that our licensing manager, Rafael Diaz, has been working with for a really long time. He has done an incredible job with the business development, and he has very strategically accessed resources and funding through Accelerator to try to move this technology through the pivotal milestones so that it can get to clinic. And so currently it's now being led through phase 1 clinical trials by Arceus Technologies. We've been working on this tech for 2-3 years through Accelerator, trying to give strategic funding through preclinical IND enabling studies, and now it's getting into the clinic, and we have really high hopes for this tech. Another impressive technology coming from WARF Accelerator is a company called Ubicept. They actually just were recipients of the Titletown Tech Startup Draft for $1 million. And they're a company that's working on computer vision software that enables machines to see in challenging environments like low light or fast speed by using individual photons, so next generation sensors. And WARF Accelerator gave some tech de-risking funding a couple of years ago, and it has helped them as they move through their journey of being a startup and growing and getting investment. And so we have invested not only through Accelerator, but also through WARF Ventures.
Those are two really great examples. And I want to ask you to follow up on that is, what do you think makes WARF's approach to accelerating innovation unique compared to other tech transfer organizations?
So, every university has their own approach. They're not all a one-size-fit-all approach. So a lot of universities will do open calls for proposals, and they have an excellent board to review those proposals. And they're able to give tranches of funding in different ways. The way WARF Accelerator approaches the tech translation for these technologies is we're really trying to do a bespoke model, working with each individual technology at any given time to make sure that they're getting the resources and the advice and the mentorship they need, whether that's from WARF or from an external party that we can try to engage to help them.
So talk to us a little bit about how you identify and support some of the most promising projects. And do you have any advice for researchers who are looking to commercialize their work?
Yeah, so WARF Accelerator's goal is to advance WARF IP to the market to get a license. And so where we start is we're looking at the 300 to 400 disclosures that are coming in every year. The Accelerator team sits in on the monthly disclosure meetings. We're listening to our licensing managers and IP managers talk about each disclosure coming in, trying to flag the technologies that seem like there's high market potential, but not only just high market potential, that they need extra de-risking funding. They need additional support in order to get to the market. A lot of times there's technologies that are ready to be licensed. A lot of times there's ones that are not, they're great inventions, but they may not be a solution to a problem that we have right now. And so we're trying to find those technologies that to best advance that tech. And then in terms of advice for researchers looking to commercialize their work, I think, trying to be engaged with what industry is doing is a very good spot to be. Conferences often have a lot of industry members there who are looking for solutions to their problems, and hearing what they have to say and trying to engage early and often with them is a really, I think, excellent forum in order to get to work on technologies that have high potential for commercialization.
Now, Lesli, as you look ahead, what are some of the new opportunities or challenges you see for the accelerator in WARF's second century?
One thing we're really trying to do is just trying to be more engaged with corporates, with investors, and making sure that everyone is aware of the kinds of technologies we're trying to develop on campus and trying to give those inventions the best chance for success. So we're trying to leverage new models with partnerships with industry, partnerships with investors. And one way we've been doing this so far is through a program we have within Accelerator called the Challenge Grant, where we're partnering up with investors or corporates to put a call out to the campus for a very small amount of money, a pot of 100 to 150K, where 3 to 4 projects will get maybe 25 to 30K. And they are targeted prompts in a specific area that's of interest to that corporate or to that venture fund to see what is brewing on campus and to keep tabs on that. The initial goal and the continual goal of challenge grants is to kind of get the ideas that are on the whiteboard into the lab for these professors. And so we're trying to leverage new partnership models with industry and investors. We're always looking on trying to stay on the bleeding edge with technology. So trying to be able to help support AI and digital and data-driven innovations. And then, in the form of challenges, navigating this rapidly changing funding landscape for our inventors, trying to be able to support them as best as we can, and ensuring that we're staying ahead of the evolving market needs and technological needs, and making sure that we have our finger on the pulse of what's going on.
So, Michael, I want to turn to you and talk about IP and licensing, because intellectual property has been central to WARF's mission. How has WARF's approach to IP and licensing changed over the decades?
Well, one of the central features of WARF from the beginning, we were started by an investigator on campus, a researcher, Dr. Steenbach, and we have really been inventor focused. What works for our inventor community? We get a new disclosure, average once a day, about 400 a year. And for each of those researchers, this is the product of their life's work. And we really approach it with what can we do to make this a seamless transition for the investigator? How can we best move that idea into the real world where it can have an impact? And so having that in our heads, I think, has helped us evolve the way in which we look for IP protection. Certainly the laws have changed. There's waxing and waning of the importance of patents. We see increased value now in other areas, and trademarks, copyrights, data sets, and other ways, biomaterials, other things, research tools that come off campus that aren't protected by a traditional patent. But we will always be a patent management office for the university, and we still see great strength in patent work.
Now, are there any licensing success stories that you think best exemplify WARF's impact on industry and society? That is kind of a little bit of an unfair question because there have been several, and to ask you to choose might be a little challenging.
It is hard. I'm picturing my inventors right now. I don't want to make any of them disappointed with me
which is your favorite child type of thing.
If I don't mention them. But there really are so many. I mean, a couple that come to mind, we've had a long strength in medical imaging on this campus. Our medical physics department's the best in the world, radiology. We've had GE Health right down the road, leading medical imaging company. Rock Mackey, one of our significant inventors and great serial entrepreneur and local champion of startups, was influential with tomotherapy, radiation and imaging company that works in this area. We currently, in our therapeutics development program, are working on radiopharmaceuticals. So we have this long connection to imaging, radiation treatment, and advancing care for cancer and other health issues with combining those leading edge technologies. And so we've done a lot in that area, and I think we've done a lot at WARF. One of our first investments in a startup was with tomotherapy. So we've done a lot to support those areas. I really like our crops, and these aren't billion-dollar deals, but they're so important to the investigators on campus, and they're so important to farmers and growers in this state and across the country and world. We have lots of cranberry varieties, Irwin Goldman's carrots and beets. We do a real robust business in moving those technologies out, traditional ones to an agricultural school like the University of Wisconsin. But again, part of what we see as our core value for the research community. We don't just pick the best and brightest technologies. We really want to support the full variety that great public research university develops. And that includes cranberries that are more red. Turns out redder the better is with a cranberry.
Yeah, that's a great slogan. Did you trademark that one yet?
We haven't. Good idea.
There you go.
It's only because cranberries are supposed to be red. That's why it's better that way.
Yeah, that might be considered descriptive by the trademark office. That might give you a little bit of trouble on that one. So, Michael, as you know, there's a lot going on in the IP space right now, particularly with AI. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges and opportunities in today's IP landscape, and how is WARF preparing for that future?
Yeah, we've done a lot of thinking about it and taken some action steps. When I look at the technology since I've started at WARF 25 years ago, one of our inventors, very involved in computer architecture, said to me, I still can't believe I'm carrying that kind of computer around in my pocket. When I started at WARF, we didn't have iPhones, and we didn't have those technologies that connect us. And the idea of doing business by email even seemed a little bit funny. So we've come a long way in those areas. In terms of our patent practice, we've seen big ups and downs with the courts. We've seen a lot of subtle changes, but that are significant for us, like in the area of patenting natural products. And so we've really had to be evolving and adapt. And AI, I think, is going to be another one of those sea changes for us. We use it now. We have an internal group that champions AI use, and we find different case studies to use it for. Lots of us use it for basic research now and as an advanced search engine for some basic writing. We have used it to do some analysis of our contracts and to see whether we can use it to gain us more insights. We don't know what it'll do to the whole patent world, as we have an increasing amount of documents generated and prior art in AI. We love the question, like all patent practitioners do, of can a robot be an inventor? Patent Office has told us no for now, but we certainly see as our researchers evolve and use AI, what an impact that's going to have on research. And it's funny with AI. I remember trying to note when we would have an invention related to AI or where someone used AI. There's no reason to even keep a checkbox anymore because most of the inventions, most of our researchers are using AI on a regular basis. It's something that happened with machine learning over the last 20 years, but with AI in the last 5, and now we just expect it as part of our research package.
So, Michael, my final question for you is, how does WARF's legacy influence its philosophy and strategy around IP protection and commercialization?
Right. Yeah, I'd go back to what I said about inventors. I mean, we really are technology and inventor focused. It is often in our meetings when we have our monthly disclosure meeting where we talk about all the great inventions that month and decide which we should move forward for patenting. Question certainly revolves around, can we get a patent and can we make money? But that's just a part of the equation. So often we ask, will a patent help this technology get out in the world? What can we do with one of our programs like Accelerator, with our network of innovators? What can we do to help move this technology out? What can bring this from a place where it's just theoretical and a new idea in a group of inventors' heads? What can we do to make that a tangible product in the world and make a real difference? And so I think starting there, saying at each meeting, how can we say yes to this invention? Starting with a yes and thinking, what can we do to be part of the difference making and help move a technology and get it to market? All of our good technologies, when I look back, it's actually kind of comforting as I reflected on our 100 years and prepared for this. Things seem so hard in the moment. And then when I look back, lots of these things worked out. We've had so many successes. Things that were difficult to get to market, which had challenges, which had setbacks, did eventually make it. And so I think we really go in with that optimistic attitude for each of our new inventions. What can we do to be part of making this a success story?
So, Maureen, I want to turn to you as the Director of Human Resources and Cultural Advancement. I think one of the things that's always impressed me as well as others about WARF has been its people. There are just been so many amazing people who've worked here. Talk to us about how the organization's cultures evolved over the last 100 years.
Yes, I think we've heard it today. One of the common themes and core foundational principles in our culture is mission driven. And really that's support for each other, for our inventor community, for the UW, and for the greater world. So that really keeps a lot of folks engaged and excited about working here, as you can notice from our log tenure around the table, as well as a depth in our organization. I think another facet of our culture is, someone has said, it's one of the oldest startups. So we have that startup mentality. And as Michael mentioned, the can-do attitude. How can we make this work for everyone? And certainly the bounds of our organizational structure and other things. But I think coming in with that attitude and innovation has really been a success. In recent years, we've really been more strategic and intentional about our culture and what are those themes that we want to ensure we're all reflecting and living out our culture. So we have values of innovation, teamwork, and accountability, and certainly foundational to all that is communication.
So you mentioned the startup mentality. I think it's incredible you haven't lost that mentality, because a lot of startups, as they start to grow, as WARF has grown over 100 years, lose that mentality. So that's really impressive. So what initiatives have led to strengthen WARF's commitment to a culture of innovation and inclusiveness?
Yes. One of the things we've really focused on is how can we reach everyone? All people can be inventors, and how do we ensure that we are promoting them, reaching out to them, and really lifting them up. So that's a key focus to that inclusiveness. We've looked at a lot of our programs, outreach. We've introduced an ambassador program with postdocs and grad students that have really allowed that connection from WARF into the departments. That's one way. We've been strategic about celebrating innovation in our organization. You heard a little bit about the challenge grants. try to do these non-traditional ways that we can reach different audiences that maybe historically we haven't. The Hectors and the Steenbachs and some of those individuals you think of and look towards. How do we start changing the face of STEM? And we've done that through interns and fellowships and disclosure meetings, even, something in our HR practices, the employment application or interview questions. So we really do strategically look at all these facets and open those doors up to everyone that can walk through.
Now, are there certain things that you do to support the professional growth and well-being of your staff? And why do you think those things are important for your mission?
Yes. Well, long-term strategy is only as powerful and thrives when employees are engaged and taken care of. So we really reflect that in a lot of things we do and enhance that. I think, our world, our culture has evolved from 100 years, certainly. And then COVID really, right, has changed a lot of our workplaces. And so we're pleased to have a hybrid structure. We really want to meet employees where they are and help them do their best work wherever that may be. So we've thrived in that environment. Reflect that. And sometimes you need to sit around a table and talk through things, which we do, and other things can be much more easily done in other places. We offer a robust health and wellness program, and that's been really meaningful to our employees. Long-term benefit plans, retirement, certainly all those common elements, but then how can we really look at our culture and support some of those unique programs for our employees? Autumn's certainly been a wonderful resource for a lot of our employees, and we're certainly a strong advocate for that. The university, a lot of our staff take advantage of the wonderful programs and educational offerings we have right down the street. And then also we encourage community involvement. So we have provided a paid day a year for our staff to go out and volunteer, whether that be at a food pantry or something a little bit more related to technology, or participating on a board or other community involvement. So I think all those key ways have really supported that culture.
Absolutely. And keeping on this theme of culture, as we look ahead to the future, how do you envision WARF's culture continuing to adapt and thrive in the next century?
Yes, grounded on the mission-driven aspect, keeping that in mind, keeping the innovation in mind, continue to trust our employees to do great things. I think that's something that's really resonated with me, and I've seen from when I joined about 20 years ago with the former managing director, Kyle Gabranson, and now with Eric Iverson. They've really taken their vision, but then turned that over to the employees and said, I know you can do this. Let's figure out a way to do it together. And I think that really sparks that innovation spirit in a lot of folks and gives them the autonomy to do great things, and really led by that purpose-driven culture.
That's incredible. Well, thank you. So I want to ask each of you, looking back, what are you most proud of in your time at WARF? Michael, why don't you start us off here?
Right. Well, when I think about institutions now, we have so much distrust in society with institutions. And I guess I am most proud when I'm on campus, when I see investigators and researchers, they're happy to see me. They appreciate WARF. And it's not that we've always said yes to their patentable invention or to their accelerator project or to investing in their startup companies, but they really respect our expertise, know that we're coming from the right place, and see the importance of our commitment to our processes and procedures and doing the right thing. And so I just really appreciate that. And I'm proud of that when I talk to our UW investigators who think highly of us.
What I'm most proud of at my time at WARF is the way I've been able to evolve and grow in this organization, and how I'm always given the opportunity to learn a lot of new things. Michael mentioned that our inventors respect our expertise. However, at WARF, we're not always trying to just exist in what we know. We're trying to learn and grow in order to best help the UW and our inventors. This comes in the form of working with corporates, venture funds, and other industry experts so that we can best provide guidance and resources for our teams. I'm really proud of the collaborative nature and our united goal in translating these important inventions to the world.
One of the things I've been proud of is being a valued partner. I think HR also gets a little bit of a bad rap sometimes with being the compliance or the no police or saying you can't do it. And continuing with the philosophy Michael mentioned with the inventors, it's really people coming to us and really being the helpful resource, and then also partnering with them to see what we can do to better their experience or help them in a personal way if something's happening. And that really just, again, supports the cycle that they're thriving here in our culture.
And for me, the thing that I'm most proud of is the connections that I have built and made with our licensees and also my colleagues at WARF and the university as well.
So as the podcast comes to a close, I wanted to ask, what is your vision for the next 100 years of WARF, and what advice would you give to those who carry its legacy forward?
Continue to evolve and embrace new opportunities. In my career here too, people have said, "Oh, would you mind doing this or giving this a try?" I'm sure, I'll give it a try. Why not? So I think, is keeping, as I mentioned before, the door open to that and not being afraid to pilot something or move something forward and experiment, I think is core to WARF. I also think keeping the mission and investment of research top of mind. There are a lot of shiny pennies out there, and I think when that might get lost, it's important to really have that at the core of our decision making.
Well, I can't thank the four of you enough for all your time today. It's been an honor to be here at WARF. Congratulations on 100 years. What an incredible legacy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to Holly, Lesli, Michael, and Maureen for joining us today and sharing your reflections on WARF's remarkable journey. As we celebrate a century of innovation, partnership, and societal impact, it's clear that WARF's legacy is not just the patents it holds or the discoveries it supports, but in the people and partnerships that drive its mission forward. Here's to the next 100 years of advancing research, commercialization, and the betterment of society. Thank you for listening to Autumn on the Air, and be sure to join us next time for more conversations at the intersection of innovation and impact.
Thanks for listening to Autumn on the Air with Lisa Mueller. Get social with us and share your thoughts. You can tweet us at AUTM or visit us online at AUTM.net. We'll be back next week on the air. Be sure to join us.